Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to take you through a little bit of an overview of some of the watercolour brushes that I use and some of the ones that are available out there for you to get. So I'm going to start with these two because they're quite similar. So typically when I'm doing watercolour calligraphy, I'm going to be using a round brush. I tend to prefer something like this that's a white Taklon. So this one is actually the same, it's just kind of been stained because I've dumped it in a black ink a few too many times. But as you can see, they're both about the same size. This one is a little bit kind of more tapered together at the top, but they're fairly similar kinds of things. They're both a size 2. I generally use a size 2. I know some people use something as small as like a 1 or a 0. I like the added drama and flexibility that's available with the 2, but if you're just starting out and you find you want something a bit smaller, that's fine. I know some people who go up as far as a size 4. At the end of the day, whatever you have available is fine, but otherwise I would recommend grabbing a size 2. Both of these brushes only retail for a couple of dollars. This one is an Australian, I think it's an Australian brand. It's put out by Eckersley's in Australia, and this one is a Watercolour brush, which is also an Australian brand. Now, this next one here is a Winsor & Newton Cotman. Now, the bottom one is a size 2 and the top one is a size 3. So you can see there's a little bit of a difference there between the two of them. There's not a huge amount of difference, and really probably it just depends on the kind of the size of the piece that I'm working on. If I need to do something that there's a lot of text in a small space, then I'll go for a smaller brush. With the Winsor & Newton, I actually prefer the size 3. Now, the other thing that sometimes you'll see people using to do watercolor calligraphy is this kind of brush, which is a liner brush. I personally am not a huge fan. This is a size 6, so it's pretty big. But you're kind of having to work right on the tip of this brush if you're using it. But there are a bunch of people on Instagram who are using them and who probably love them, but not the first thing that I pick up, generally speaking. So what I wanted to do is just then show you a little bit of the differences between how I actually use them. So what you'll notice is that the white Taklon brushes are a little bit stiffer than the Winsor & Newton. And so I find that with those, I'm actually able to push across the page like this a little bit more easily than I am with the Winsor & Newton. So that's the Jazz Art brush. This Watercolour one is kind of in between the two. It's not quite as stiff as the Jazz Art. And then I'll show you the same technique with this one. It kind of requires a really, really light touch. But as you can see, it's kind of more prone to bending back. And I didn't even push down enough there. So often what I actually do with this one is I actually use it differently. I hold it on the tip to start with, come around, and pull it down like that. So I'll show you with the size 2. Probably didn't smush it enough in the ink to start with, but it's a similar kind of thing. I'd hold it on the top, so as you can see, you get kind of a bit of a different look than what you do with the stiffer brushes. So it kind of depends on what I'm doing. So often you'll see if I'm doing something really kind of swirly and swooshy, I like the softer brush. But then for a kind of a more upright style, I prefer the stiffer bronze. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview. At the end of the day, it's going to be personal preference for the most part, because really it's going to be about what you prefer to use, but that should get you started.